Welcome to FX Options University, recorded live at the International Securities Exchange, the world's largest equity options exchange. Join the industry's top trading professionals as they provide insight and strategies for trading in the currency markets using FX options. FX options are a low-risk alternative to hedging currency moves in any market condition.
Hi, everyone. This is Elenite Levine from the International Securities Exchange. I'm taking over for Steve Meisinger as your host this afternoon. So thank you for joining us. We're very excited to have with us this afternoon Rick Swope, an industry veteran specializing in technical analysis and risk management, and Sean Howell. Rick and Sean co-founded Pro Market Advisors, an education, training, and consulting firm that caters to individual traders and investors as well as corporate managers and executives. As a veteran in the industry, Rick has presented in hundreds of seminars across the U.S. and around the world. His expertise includes technical analysis, market strategy, and risk management. He's also the co-owner and managing partner of a trading firm, which is one of the pioneers in online trading. He's provided technical analysis, trading strategy, and software training to the firm's traders. Rick has also traded a partnership account during that time, executing up to 300 trades per day. And he's worked closely with the early creators of the small order execution system trading, the so-called SOES bandits. Rick has presented with some of the top financial exchanges, including CBOE, the Chicago Mercantile Exchange, as well as the International Securities Exchange. Rick created the first market technical analysis consulting team for a financial firm with $1 trillion in client assets. He has extensive media experience, including a regional PBS weekly show, a national PBS pledge program, and numerous radio and television appearances. He's also the co-author of the Amazon bestseller, The Market Guy's 5 Points for Trading Success. He has extensive teaching experience from corporate training to 6 years as an adjunct engineering instructor. Sean Howell began his involvement with capital markets and trading in 1992 while living and working in Tokyo. In 1995, he went to work for Charles Schwab, spending over a decade working with the firm's most affluent and sophisticated traders and managing teams of specialized brokers. In 2005, he concluded his tenure as divisional manager of Schwab's active trader field team to teach currency, stock, option, and technical trading strategies across North America for InvestTools. In 2006, Sean became the managing director for the Forex Enterprise, or Thinkorswim Group. In 2010, Sean partnered together with a longtime friend and colleague, Rick, to create Pro Market Advisors, which specializes in premier educational, investment, education, and trading consultation for retail and institutional clients, such as E-Trade, Scotia, and the OIC, the Options Industry Council, as well as the ISC. I'm going to turn it over to Rick and Sean. 1 second.
Okay. Well, thank you for that introduction, Lenny. We appreciate you having us on today. Always a pleasure to work with you and Steve and International Securities Exchange. And welcome everyone who's joining the call today. This is Rick Swope with Pro Market Advisors, and just want to give a quick welcome myself. Sean's going to have a couple words, and then we're going to jump right into the topic. We have some fun stuff to cover today. We're always happy to present in conjunction with International Securities Exchange. You know, we do both these webinars as well as live events on occasion. One of those, I believe, coming up very soon, August 17th in Denver, Colorado. So if any of you are going to be in that area or close enough that you can join us, I believe Steve is going to be joining us at that event. It's an evening event talking about options, talking about technical analysis. So a lot of fun stuff going on. Sean, let me hand it over to you for a quick second. Make sure audio is looking good, and maybe give a quick welcome to everyone as we get ready to jump into the program today.
Yeah, absolutely. Thanks, Rick. Well, welcome everyone. Glad you could join us today. This is a subject that's very near and dear to my heart, and I hope you're going to find that it's an interesting topic as well as a beneficial topic for your time. Since we're going to be talking about some foreign currency options, one of the things that Rick and I are hearing from a lot of our clients is that with the U.S. markets being somewhat choppy and being a little rudderless or without some direction right now, there's a lot of conflicting technical indicators, a lot of conflicting patterns. Sometimes it's important to look outside of the U.S. market for some trading opportunities. And even though we're going to be using the U.S. markets and we're going to be talking about the FX options, which of course are traded on a U.S. market, we're looking at entities that are outside of our borders, so they're not subject to this back and forth that we're seeing in the markets right now. So we'll hopefully give you some better understanding of some of the technical moves, but I'll try to throw in some fundamental ideas of what's driving some of these currency trends, and also we'll be able to wrap it up with possibly some trade strategy as well if time permits. So Rick, if everybody can hear me, let's start moving forward.
Excellent. Let me just mention how we're going to run through today. We're going to start with some educational slides, cover a few different topics. Some of this may be new for some of you. Some of it may be pretty basic. But for those of you who may be a little bit more advanced, it never hurts to come back to some of the basics, because a lot of times in the markets will let us run down the path of complexity just about as far as we want to run. But that's not always a good thing. It's a great idea on occasion to come back to the basics and make sure that you're understanding the story of what's being told in the markets as best as possible. From there, you manage risk as best as you can, and then that is really some of the ingredients that pushes you on your way toward success. And now we're also then going to move into some charts, looking at some analysis. Joe asked the question, will the speakers be taking questions? You bet. Please do not hesitate. It's one of the benefits of being on these sessions live and not just coming back after the fact and watching the recording, is that you get to use the Q&A box to send in questions. And Sean and I will be going back and forth, as one speaking, the other will be watching the question box. So we'll weave those in as best as possible. And then we're going to look at the FX options. We're going to look at the currency pairs, and just from a technical standpoint, take a look at where some of these currency pairs are, so that as you consider adding the ICE FX options into your portfolio for investing and trading, that you have some ideas of how you can take a look at those. So let's jump into this. Of course, we always want to let you know that options do involve risk, may not be suitable for all investors, but they don't have to be excessively risky. In fact, options were originally, in their general form, designed as instruments to hedge risk, not instruments to add to risk. So you can use them to both speculate as well as to hedge risk. We're going to look specifically, obviously, at the currency options, and you can come up with some ways of how these currency options can factor into your portfolio, whether it's from hedging from a business standpoint, whether it's just simply speculating on the disparity between economies. Currencies primarily are technical because of the vast array of variables that come into play, but there are also some general fundamentals that come into play too. When just looking at some of the recent news coming out, GDP reports, housing reports, these do in fact, when you match up these types of reports that come out, these do in fact influence the movement of the dollar against certain currencies, especially economies that are more closely linked to ours, such as our neighbors north in Canada. So you take a little bit of both. We're going to focus a little bit more, actually a lot more, on the technical side today, but that doesn't mean that you should entirely ignore the fundamentals that come into play from an economic standpoint either. Of course, once again, we just want to have the appropriate disclaimers and cautions here, and that is simply, hey, there's nothing that comes without some risk. And the key that you want to take away from these types of slides is make sure you understand the risks, whether it's options, whether it's directly in stocks, whether it's ETFs, whatever it is that you're going to be trading and investing. Make sure that you understand the market that you're participating in. Now, obviously, today we're talking about currency options. That has its own set of risks and rewards. There are its own set of variables that come into play. Make sure that you've taken the time, and of course I'm kind of preaching to the choir here, make sure that you've taken the time to understand the market that you're working with here.
Thank you for participating in this week's session. Please join us again next week. Get trading ideas, exchange rates, webinars, news, and commentary. Visit www.fxoptions.com. ISE FX options can be easily traded through all options-enabled brokerage accounts. These exchange-listed securities are cash-settled in U.S. dollars and have a European-style exercise.